Welcome back to the program. Johnson Chukwu, the GMD at Cowry Asset Management, is joining us right now through the phone lines from Lagos. Mr. Chukwu, good morning to you and welcome to the program.
Good morning, and thank you for having me.
Okay, let's dive straight in. The Central Bank of Nigeria came up with an announcement yesterday of Diaspora Remittances that Nigerians or beneficiaries of FX can actually get those foreign currencies in cash or deposit in their dome accounts. What's your assessment of this amendment again?
So, Nancy, as you know, the central bank or the foreign reserve has come under pressure. We've seen exchange rate move northwards, and the central bank is coming up with some of the policies that are designed to address some of these challenges or restore capital flow into the economy. If you look at diaspora remittance, for instance, last year Nigeria received about $23.5 billion of that diaspora remittances. As of the last time I checked, we have only received about $5 billion this year. So the central bank motivation is to encourage more Nigerians to send their monies home and have those monies converted at near parallel market or market reflective rate, so that they're motivated to send more money home, and that will close the gap. If you look at the flow of capital into the economy, aside from export proceeds from the process of sale of crude, the next highest flow of capital comes from diaspora remittances. And I think this is designed to encourage some more of shopping flows.
You know, for me, how important is the timing of this decision? Just like they said, a landmark decision, first day of December, it's a festive period, like they say, those social media people, dirty December. I don't know if it's going to be a dirty December, this December, because of the recession, but how important is this timing? December, we're just about 24 days to Christmas. We're expecting a lot of our relative loved ones, brothers, sisters, uncle, aunts, even father, mothers will be sending remittances, dollars, euros, and co. from the United States and other countries. So how important is this timing?
I think it was principally timed to ensure that they motivate those Nigerians in diaspora to send in more money home. As you rightly said, one of the excitement that of diaspora residents is that when the exchange rate depreciates, they get more value when they send their money home, and a lot of them go into capital projects like building of houses, buying of properties, beyond supporting family members. So, and as you know, in the past, in December, because of the level of capital flow from diaspora remittances, we normally see an improvement in the NAIRA exchange rate. So I think this is now designed to engender more of such remittances, even beyond what the level of flow we normally receive. Because with an exchange rate at the current threshold, you will see a lot of Nigerians who ordinarily send money to their families, want to send in more money, and they want to get involved in some capital projects. Some of them will be coming home, want to come and start building houses, and I think this is designed, the time is designed to encourage higher level of flow.
Now, let's take a look at this year. The peculiarity of this year has really been a tough year. It's still a tough year, especially for those of us in Nigeria. And if you take a look at even the countries where this remittances are being expected or gotten from, the United States, UK, other parts of Europe, Asia, and all of that, these are countries that are also in a recession. These are countries that have high unemployment, or their unemployment rates have risen. And some Nigerians would also be affected by the unemployment rates in those countries. The great lockdown which happened this year, some countries are going into a second wave of lockdown. How do you think that all this will definitely impact the inflow of remittances moving forward, especially now that we're in December? And now that the Central Bank of Nigeria expects that the relaxation of this rule would improve liquidity in the FX market?
Yes, Nancy, I think the areas you pointed out are absolutely germane. Like I mentioned earlier, last year we got 23.5 billion from diaspora remittance. In the first quarter of this year, we have gotten about 5 billion, which was a run rate of about the same thing we got last year. But after the first quarter of this year, we saw a lockdown globally, not just in Nigeria, in other Western countries. And we saw a lot of Nigerians, not just Nigerians, people in Western countries being furloughed from their jobs And the level of income has actually come down among households, not just in Nigeria, in other countries. So I don't think that we're going to achieve the same level of capital flow or diaspora remittance we got last year, even with this new policy. I think the central bank will also need to implement further policies, such as also focusing on portfolio investment. Last year, we got about $16 billion in portfolio investment. This year, we only got about $4 billion. We've gotten about $4 billion this year. And just about $4 billion this year. So they also need to complement whatever is going to come out for diaspora remittances with portfolio investments.
But
the environment,
Mr. Chukwu, yes, Mr. Chukwu, just hold on a bit. And you know, one of the downsides of the portfolio investment is that when the going gets tough, they actually also disappear with their briefcases and their big boxes. So that is one of the downside of FPI for foreign portfolio investors. So how do you think that the central bank can begin to encourage that in a bid to boost liquidity?
Okay. You know, my take on foreign portfolio investment is this. The focus of any economic manager is to maintain macroeconomic stability. And if you have macroeconomic stability within the environment, you're going to see continuous flow. Some will go, some will come back. And if you catch the money back to what we've enjoyed the previous years, like I said, last year we got about $16 billion of foreign portfolio investment. And if we maintain stable macroeconomic environment, you're going to see consistent flow. The key challenge people actually worry about is that if your economy goes south, that they want to exit. But again, you want to achieve some level of stability in your economy, you want to improve your level of reserve, and you have to look for short-term measures that you can take to improve your level of capital flow, even if it's temporary. And most importantly, you're going to see the government and your export earnings from crude as crude price has gone back to about $46 or $7 per barrel. You're going to see improvement in flow from diaspora remittances as the Western economy, now that we found vaccine for COVID, and hopefully, as the vaccines are administered, you're going to see restoration of normalcy in Western economies and economic activity to pick up again. But you need to achieve some level of stability in the immediate time, and that will only come from those sources that you can easily activate. Foreign portfolio investment could be one of them because, like I said earlier, we are seeing yield in Western countries at the very lowest level. So if you have some attractive yield locally, you could have capital flowing back into the economy.
Mr. Chukwu, let's come to the place that the central bank is having a turnaround. I also know earlier this year, was it sometime last year, that the central bank also encouraged the Nigerians that when we get these remittances in dollars or in euros or in pounds or whatever currency it comes in, we need to exchange it in NAIRA, which will be done in the banks, that we can't spend foreign currency in Nigeria. We should try as much as possible to promote transactions in NAIRA. So do you think that because of the things we've been seeing, especially in the parallel market in the last few days, NAIRA was at 510 Naira yesterday in the parallel market, though the central bank governor was so vehement at the last MPC meeting, was it not last week? You could visibly see the anger when he was asked that question on FX. And we're seeing this decision just a few days or perhaps a week later.
The basic thing is this, the decision by central bank to amend this policy and allow the recipients to receive the money in their domiciliary account will not necessarily lead to dollarization of the economy because the goods are not sold in dollar terms. The benefit for recipients and those who are remitting the funds is that they are able to change the inflows or their receipts at maybe probably the parallel market rate. And what you also recognize is that once supply improves and there's no increase in demand, prices will come down. So the objective is basically to ensure that we have more flows, and as these funds come into the parallel market, even if they go to the parallel market, you will see increase in supply, and that will lead to moderation in exchange rate.
Mr. Chukwu, how do we deal with round tripping in that FX market? Because you know that even this policy which the central bank has reintroduced again was there even before. And market players and market operators were being accused of round tripping at that time. How can that be curbed now? Or will there be no round tripping anymore? Because if I collect my dollars, you collect, all of us will still go and exchange that into NAIRA and buy whatever we want to buy or use it for whatever transaction or put it in my DOM account.
Yes, you know, for diaspora remittances, I do not think the concerns are always round-tripping. Round-tripping concerns apply to those importers who are using maybe letters of credit, bills for collection, or any of these means of payment for offshore supplies to transfer monies to foreign countries when there is no commensurate supply of goods to the local economy. I think that hardly applies to diaspora beneficiaries. What you see is that for diaspora beneficiaries, either they move the money to their DIM account, they are not likely going to move the money out of the country. Because if you look at the recipients of most diaspora remittances, they are largely dependents of family members. They are not businessable. The key thing for them is that they are able to convert their dollar flows at what they consider as foreign market, which means they get more NAIRA for the monies they get. And like if they are asked to convert with the banks will pay them official rates or I&E window rates, which today is materially lower than the foreign market rate. So for them, the attraction is that they are able to convert at foreign market and get more NAIRA for it. Like I said, if this actually lead to improved flow from diaspora remittances, then you are going to see an improvement in rate because the supply will ultimately outstrip demand.
Let's take a look at these figures, this diaspora remittances figures coming in. You know, there was a time also that the Central Bank of Nigeria disputed that figure of about $25 billion coming into the country. But we do know that many Nigerians send money, many Nigerians abroad send money to their relatives and loved ones in Nigeria. I think sometime earlier this year, the director in charge of, that's Ms. Ozomena Naji. She's the one that signed the statement yesterday. She actually also mentioned that about $25 million were gotten in or received in 2019. How through official sources, at least the CBN did tell us that that's the data they got from banks and physical cash coming through banks and all of that. So this somewhat figure disparity, how do we really know how much Nigerians abroad send into the country?
Well, it might be difficult to arrive at the exact figure, but I think the CBN figure will largely mirror the level of remittances we are getting. And like I said earlier, last year Central Bank reported that total remittance was $23.5 billion. The preceding year, which was 2018, CBN reported that the total remittance figure was $4 billion. And in the first quarter of this year, they have reported that the total remittance is about $5.6 billion. CBN is in a better position because CBN is in a position to aggregate total receipts by the banks. Because as it stands today, the money transfer organizations like MoneyGram and Western Union, all CBN has access to their portals. So I believe we can rely largely on the CBN figure.
What do you think your NAIRA outlook will be towards the end of this year, especially with this policy coming out right now? 1st of December, we'll soon go for the holidays. What do you think the NAIRA would look like, perhaps by the end of this month, as this kicks in?
Okay, like I said earlier, normally we see slowdown in demand for Forex in the last month of the year because importers would have placed their orders earlier and made their payments. But unfortunately, we are dealing with arrears of unmet demand for FX, which means that the pressure on FX will be sustained even the remaining part of the year. The impact of this change in policy will only be measured if we see a material improvement in foreign in remittances. But we also have to recognize the fact that, look, Nigerians in diaspora are also going through difficulties, economic difficulties, and might not be in a position to remit as much money as they did last year. So, on the balance, I think we are still going to be dealing with some pressure on FX in the main part of the year.
You don't want to give me a figure?
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to put a figure, but probably the pressure will moderate a bit as we see possible uptick in inflows. But I think we have to accept the fact that, look, we are dealing with arrears of unmet demand, and that arrears are not likely going to be fulfilled in the next 4 weeks. Okay.
Do you want to give me a range? Because I know I'm asking this question so that even people watching can actually take that information. This is a business show, it's a finance program, so that people can actually take that information. The official window 389, between 380 to 389, or that's the I&E window rather. Is there a range, especially with this policy coming in, that one can say I can plan with? That NAIRA will be between this and this to the dollar, which is the world's reserve currency?
Well, Nancy,
or you just want to smartly evade?
To put a figure will be difficult. Like I said, a lot of I expect central banks to be more active in intervention in the market. If the central banks will improve the level of supply in the market, you're going to see foreign market drop below 500. If the central bank pushes to clear the areas of unmet demand, particularly from those of foreign portfolio investors, you could actually see a vast flow of foreign capital flow into the country. Again, there are other policies that I think may be complementary to what they have done. I had mentioned the issue of targeting foreign portfolio investments, which would mean that they have to clear the areas of unmet sales that they wanted to remit, and then you may need to tweak with the current yield on fixed income instruments. Those factors, the central bank can actually see do within the remaining part of the year. And if they do that, we can actually see a material improvement. Finally, central bank can also decide to show what we call a show of strength. And they could actually come to the market and clear the market. Should they do that? Should they do that? Or even meet 50% of net demand? Should they do that? You will see those who are holding positions, who are speculating on NAIRA depreciating for that, they will panic and offload. And we see the exchange rate of materially below 400.
Yeah, because what we've seen actually even in the last few weeks is talking about currency speculation, and I was coming to that in terms of those that have speculated against the currency. With this policy right now, where does it leave them? All the big men that have stacked the dollars, because the dollar is the currency to go to right now. What would this policy do to them? They will start offloading.
No, we are doing something which is basically an assumption. That assumption is that Nigerians in diaspora have money, and that this policy will make them send those monies, that they've been trying to send those monies, but now they will be incentivized to send the monies. That's an assumption. We need to measure how badly affected we are Nigerians in diaspora by the COVID-19 economic crisis. If they're not affected and they are in the same position they were last year, maybe you could see a major upswing in supply. But in the absence of that, then the supply, the proof of strength will not have to come from central bank. And I think central bank can do those things. They can actually increase the volume of supply to the BDCs, and that will immediately meet some of the demands and will reverse the pressure we're having in FX. They can also focus on meeting the demands of foreign portfolio investors. Any of these measures will have drastic impact on the exchange rate. But the key thing is that the central bank must continue in these efforts to build confidence and make those who are speculating that NAIRA will depreciate further. One thing is that once measures are taken even for once, and that sees a reversal in the trend, and you see appreciation in the exchange rate, the speculators will panic and they will offload. And once they start offloading, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. The rates will come down. I think there are still multiple tools at the disposal of central bank they can deploy to create that restoration of confidence on the NAIRA.
Okay, finally, Mr. Chukwu, in just 30 seconds, can you really explain this policy again to my viewers? I know I did that at the beginning of the program, but just explain to those watching or those online viewers also what this policy really means, what exactly it means.
Okay, what the policy of the central bank on diaspora remittances implies is that for anybody who sends money to a recipient, a relation of whoever, locally, that recipient can send transfer that money to his or her domiciliary account, can withdraw the money in form of cash, or can use it for any eligible transaction within the Nigerian economic space. So they no longer need to go and have the bank pay them at whatever is the rate that the bank decides on. So they now have the discretion to sell their money and get appropriate rate for it, or withdraw it in form of cash and sell it at the whatever is the ruling rate in the market.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chukwu. Let's